Hi everyone, Crazy Keto Guy here. I've got to mention I'm slightly deaf in this ear today, and it happened once before, and it kind of froze me a little bit. So if I keep with my ear, you'll know why. Um, so, Crazy Keto Guy, I wanted to do a video talking about intermittent fasting, um, and prior to starting to record this, I did brush up a little bit, watching a few videos myself by various people, just to really refresh my mind. When I started my new healthier lifestyle, which was July 2019, we're now coming towards the end of November, so it's been a fair few months. Originally, it was purely going to be the ketogenic diet that I was doing. And as time's gone on, I've added various other things. Now, what I want to say to you is I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a nutritionist or a health expert, health and fitness, or anything like that. Everything I've decided to do, I've done off of the back of self-education, if you want to call it that. And I think that's important. I see so many people on different forums that I follow that are starting out on the ketogenic diet or starting out on intermittent fasting, and they have no understanding of it, how to do it, and what the benefits even are of doing it. They might have some basic understanding, but I honestly believe the more educated you can be, the better. So I'm just going to name drop a few people. So my big go-to guy at the start, when I very first started, was a guy called Thomas DeLawyer. I'll probably say his name, pronounce it slightly wrong. It's Delauer. So Thomas DeLawyer, Delauer. Now he has an amazing YouTube channel. He talks about the ketogenic diet. He talks about intermittent fasting. He talks about extended fasting. Just so much good stuff on there. If you're not big on using YouTube, just type in his name and some reference to what you're interested in, and trust me, you'll get a good selection of videos. From there, I started to follow a few other people. It was Thomas that sort of introduced the idea that intermittent fasting and keto went together really well, which I do believe it does. That's not to say that if you're doing intermittent fasting, you need to be doing the ketogenic diet, and it's not to say that if you're doing the ketogenic diet, you need to be doing intermittent fasting. All I'm saying is I do believe the two benefit each other. But then I started to watch a few other people because of my diabetes. Again, one of my big go-tos was Dr. Jason Fung, Fung. Now, unfortunately, I believe his YouTube channel got hacked, and I still don't believe he's actually got it back. And they keep loading this video up that's all very controversial, to do with diabetes and to do with the powers that be, conspiracy theory, stopping certain doctors from promoting certain things that would help diabetes. It's just a bit of a conspiracy theory video that keeps getting loaded up and then deleted and then loaded up and deleted. Why the account is still hacked, I don't know. But again, great reference on intermittent fasting. Dr. Jason Fung speaks a lot about intermittent fasting. Ben Bickman, Professor Ben Bickman, should I say, or Benjamin Bickman, you'll find him under. Again, a lot of good stuff on ketogenic diet and fasting and other things that I've started to get into, like cold therapy. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, again, amazing stuff. I absolutely love listening to Dr. Rhonda Patrick talking about things like hypothermic conditioning, heat shock proteins and FOXO3A, all loads of sciencey stuff. Do I ultimately understand it? I kind of get some of it, but no, as I said, I'm not a scientist. So some of the stuff, when they start talking about things and certain words they use, I can just never pronounce, no matter how much I try. And yes, I am a bit of I don't want to say a fad follower, but as I've been on this journey, when something comes along, I think, if I think it could be beneficial, I do add it to my schedule, my regime, if you like, my fitness plan. So as I say, it started out as ketogenic diet. We added intermittent fasting. We then realized we were doing hypothermic conditioning without knowing it, which basically was through my time at the gym and the time that I would then spend in a hot sauna, which basically is hypothermic conditioning. Then I started doing cryotherapy or cold therapy, which is a complete flip side in the cold. That's probably been the hardest one. I then started doing contrast showers. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff and a whole bunch of people that I would recommend you listen to. So going back to intermittent fasting, definitely Thomas DeLoyer, definitely Dr. Jason Fong, especially if you're diabetic. And another name I'm going to throw in there is Ray Cronice. I always struggle again with his name. Damn, you Americans have got some funky names. So Ray Cronice is an ex-NASA scientist. That's Ray, Cronise. He did like a podcast with Dr. Rhonda Patrick, and they talk about intermittent fasting and a whole bunch of other stuff. So from an intermittent fasting point of view, Ray, I think, is a lot more about quite extended fasts. But anyway, so yeah. So I kind of dabbled for the first couple of weeks. I'm pretty sure I've shown this sheet a few times. But I'm going to show it again. And then I come up with a schedule for the week that was everything from my training, where I do a couple of sessions at an actual gym, my home sessions. Probably can see the bike just in the background there. Nice, I'm very blessed in as much as I have a gym quality exercise bike, a little mini brag there. But yeah, so I come up with a schedule that basically means, and I'm not saying this has to be everyone, and I do feel it's important that you move into this slowly, that you put in some time researching it, you watch the videos, you get that kind of an understanding of what fasting is and what you can do during your fast, what breaks the fast. Now, again, I'm a bit of a bad boy when it comes to keto because I do follow what's known as dirty keto. I do bend the rules because I wanted to include a quality of life was the key, but an enjoyment of life alongside it. So I do have kind of dirty keto, and I've got in trouble on a few clean keto groups. In fact, I've been banned from 2 of them. And similarly with intermittent fasting, I at the start was kind of not deliberately bending the rules, a little bit again of lack of education. I was putting sweetener into my black coffee. So realistically, all you can have during the fasting time is water to stay hydrated, and I do, and black coffee, no cream, no milk, and ultimately no sweeteners. Now, I am going to state that, in my opinion, The jury is still out. For as many articles people have shown me that suggest this is the case, I've seen other people say it's not the case. For example, Thomas DeLauer says you're allowed sweetener in your black coffee during a fast and you won't break it. Controversial, because the clean intermittent fasting people will tell you, and as I say, the jury's out on this in my opinion, so you can make your own decision. But for me, I decided to stop including sweetener during the fast. That even the sweet taste on your tongue that a sweetener would give can get an insulin spike. Even though there's 0 calories, just the pure taste alone can create an insulin spike. So I stopped doing it. So yeah, you need to have that education so the science behind it and what you can and can't do during a fast. So I come up with, and I'm not saying mine's perfect, by the way. I'm actually on a 24-hour fast at the moment, and I've still got about 6 hours till I can eat, and I'm ravenous, but hey ho. So my schedule, let me try and get this so you can hopefully see it. Maybe press pause or something so you can see it in more detail. But the way I do my fasting is I deem it that I fast every day, like every day of the week. Again, that's not to say you have to. It's what I feel comfortable with. It's what I feel confident with. But I do mix it up, and I think that keeps the body honest. It's not knowing, it's not getting into a set routine. Every day is the same. So 3 days I deem as normal days. On those days, I will try and eat 3 meals, even though I've always been a sort of 2 meal a day person. I like a good brunch and a good dinner. But yeah, so I do 3 days, which basically is 12 hours, and it means I stop eating at 8 o'clock at night and I don't eat until 8 o'clock in the morning. Very easy to do and fits into my schedule nicely. I do 2 days where I do 16-hour fasts, and that kind of fits like the 16-8 concept. And again, with that, I'm finished eating, drinking, whatever, by 8 o'clock at night again, and I break it at 12 o'clock midday the next day, and that equates to my 16-hour fasts. And then I do 2 longer 24-hour fasts, which is Tuesday into Wednesday and Saturday into Sunday. And again, it's just finish eating and drinking by 8 o'clock, and then don't come out of the fast until 8 o'clock the following day. Just a couple of quick things. With the longer fast, the 24-hour one, the 2 that I do look at how I come out of the fast and what I break the fast with a little bit more cautiously. Because you've been fasting so long, the body is super sensitive now to what you eat next. I think the golden rule is don't mix fat and carbs coming out. So you can either have protein and carbs or protein and fat. My pretty much go-to now that I come out every time is some lean protein, normally in the form of either cod loin or fillet steak, and we're not talking a massive amount, maybe 6 ounces, and a little bit of MCT oil drizzled over the top. So it kind of means, for me, on the 24-hour ones, I'm not really eating the micronutrients until the day after. There are a few things you have to be cautious with in um, reducing your calories on a consistent basis, that it can affect your metabolism. It can slow your metabolism down. So you certainly have to be cautious of that, and make sure that you're still having a calorific intake during that eating window. Um, I don't really see there's a way I can do that um, on the actual day that I do a 24-hour fast, because it's 8 o'clock at night. I'm coming out of it. By the time I've eaten, um, the whatever it might be, the steak, the cod loin, it's not like I'm going to have time to have another meal, because that would mean eating, seriously late, basically. So I can supposedly, there's a camp that says I can load up on those calories the day after, almost like carry the deficit over. Maybe I do that, maybe I don't. So yeah, I'm kind of doing, in my mind, a fast every day, even if 3 of them are only 12 hours. One thing I wanted to also say is the real benefits of fasting probably are only just starting to kick in around 16 hours. I have thought about the idea of eventually moving on to a slightly different schedule. This may happen in the new year. Once we've got Christmas and the new year out of the way, we might look at this for January, or certainly by February, to tweak things slightly. The idea is the major benefits kick in around 16 hours. And things like, and again, this is a word I always struggle with, autophagy. Yay! Got it right first time. Not going to say it again. Oh, yeah, I am. Autophagy. I kind of break it down into 3 syllables. That's the way I managed to say it. Which is a big benefit of fasting. Doesn't really kick in until around, they say, in 18, 19, 20 hours to get it. So yeah, there's some really big benefits. I do actually, just to also clarify, I do a 36-hour fast at the start of every month. In the first couple of days at the start of the month, I extend basically my Saturday into Sunday fast into a 36-hour fast. I might have to rethink that though, again, because Monday is one of my gym days, and I have come off the back of a 36-hour fast and nearly killed myself in the gym because I've been so exhausted. So yeah, the benefits are there for sure on the 16/8, but the bigger benefits probably don't kick in until around 18 to 20 hours. And then obviously, again, the more you push it, that's why I like my 24 hours, because I feel like I'm getting a good level of autophagy and the benefits with that. Would I ever go further than 36, for example? I've played with the idea of trying a 48, but do I need to? At the moment, I don't feel like I do. So yeah, intermittent fasting, I think it's a very individual thing. I'm very lucky with what's going on in my life at the moment, and how I've been able to really play around with this whole ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting and all of the other things that go with it. That again might change at some stage. From a personal perspective, I'm launching a new business. If that doesn't work out as I'm hoping, I'm probably going to have to get myself a proper job. So maybe I haven't got all the time and ability to do all of the things that I'm able to do at the moment. But I'm a big believer, a big advocate of intermittent fasting. The benefits it can have in fat burning, for sure, I think is there, and as I say, I believe fits nicely with a ketogenic diet. things like cognitive benefits, energy levels, stuff like that, well, I'll leave that up to you to find. Some of it may be a placebo effect, but I think it does exist. And there have been some good case studies that have shown the benefits of, doing the two together. So anyway, I'm not going to waffle on anymore. Please feel free to follow me, share, like the videos, and yeah, it would be great to think that there are people actually watching these videos. But if not, I love the sound of my own voice and them scary sound effects that go off occasionally. This is Crazy Keto Guy. Much love to all Ketonians on this planet.